Så välkomna tillbaka till Småbolagsdagarna här i Stockholm. Vi har nästa företagspresentation på G och även den kommer vi göra genom Zoom. Och om jag inte är helt felinformerad så sitter John O'Connor in Ireland. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hey.
All right. We welcome you and Kollect On Demand Holding to have your presentation.
Thank you. Thanks for having us here today. Will I start? Yeah, okay, excellent. Hi, my name is John O'Connor and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Kollect. Kollect is a platform online where we collect anything waste. So before I begin, I think it's important that I highlight the difference between the Swedish market and the Irish and UK markets. In Sweden, or in Ireland and the UK, people pay private waste companies to come and collect their rubbish. So there's no municipalities involved in waste collection in Ireland and the UK. People pay private waste contractors, restaurants and hotels pay private waste companies to come and collect their waste. So the problem that you have in Ireland and the UK is that it's difficult to find licensed and vetted contractors. So if I'm living in Manchester, for example, and I go on as a hotel and say, I need someone to collect my bins, there's loads of websites to navigate with tons of different prices, and you're not sure of like how good they are. And their hours are 9 to 5, and they're only open Monday to Friday. With Kollect, we're an online marketplace. So we connect customers, that's business and domestic customers, with waste removal companies. So what I mean and what we do is if someone has a waste need in Manchester, they go onto our platform, we'll give them a price 7 days a week up to 11 p.m. every night. And if they wish to go ahead with the job, we'll outsource it to our waste collection partners. So we don't do any of the infrastructure, we don't do any of the collections or processing of waste. All we do is we do the digital advertising, get customers onto our platform, give them a clear price, and then get someone else to fulfill the job. The opportunity for us is immense. We already own this as such online opportunity in Ireland. By our estimation, 0.5% of waste activities are booked online, where globally and in all other industries, 15% of activities and businesses go online. So what we're doing here, and what we've already validated in Ireland, and what we're doing over in the UK presently, is we want to build a brand like Airbnb. We want to build a brand that when people think waste, they think Kollect. Last year, we did 36 million SEK, and we did a gross margin of 37%. I think it's important to highlight before I go to the next slide, actually, all traditional waste companies in Ireland and the UK, anyone that's in this space, they're all investing in physical infrastructure. They're investing in better ways of processing waste, better trucks, better ways of navigating around the city, but none of them are looking at this online opportunity that we have, which is how do you make it simple for people to book a waste service online? So I'm just going to explain how Kollect works in Manchester, for example. So Kollect launched in Manchester early last year, and we went in with a digital marketing strategy. So we went in like Uber or Just Eat would go into any new city. We went with someone on the ground, and then we surrounded them with a marketing strategy on Instagram, Facebook, Google AdWords, just letting people know, here we are, here's Kollect, whatever your waste need is, come onto our platform and we'll give you a price. 85% of our business, Kollect's business, is this platform. So when someone heard our message in Manchester and they needed to get rid of a couch or a TV, they'd go onto our platform, they'd say, I need a price to get rid of my couch. We'd give them a clear upfront price, and then we'd outsource it to our licensed and vetted waste contractors. Another part of our business, which is 15%, is the big bin waste drop-off. So the big bin, the premise of the big bin is it sits on petrol forecourts like Circle K's. When a household or a holiday homeowner has extra bags of rubbish, say, or they're coming from their boat, they can drive to their local Circle K and they can pay in the shop and get a ticket, or they can get a ticket online and go to the big bin. And when they go to the big bin, they can put 2 bags of rubbish into the big bin for 80 SEK. The reason a customer would use the big bin is that it can be accessed 7 days a week. And as I spoke about earlier, in cities in the UK, waste is only collected from households every 1 to 2 weeks. So if someone forgets to put their bins out, they usually have excess rubbish and nowhere to get rid of it. So these big bins are a solution to a problem. We've multiple waste streams. The big bin can take recycling, general, and organic waste. And there's 300 plus sites alone in Ireland. I think it's important to highlight the revenue that we get from the 14 existing sites in Ireland. We get over 500,000 SEK per month from those sites, and we have a 50% net margin. So again, this idea is scalable. It's a global solution to a problem that's happening in most cities and towns. We've been over to Sweden, and lots of people have highlighted how these would work besides holiday home areas and beside marinas. And the same is valid in camping sites throughout Europe, or any towns and cities where people get their bins collected weekly or bi-weekly. There's also an opportunity for us to put these bins in apartment complexes. So where you have apartment complexes with 100 plus units, you can put these bins in there, and they have smart technology built into them. And we have a platform and our own software who'll tell the person who looks after that property management, who looks after that apartment complex, who's using the bin and how often. So within the bins, we have our own software, and it highlights apartment number 1 is using the bin every week, or it's not using the recycling bin. So we basically give whoever puts these bins into their apartment complex, we give them knowledge about what's happening regards their waste and what tenants are using or not using. So you can incentivize people maybe to recycle more or to use the organic bin. We've just done a deal early last year or late last year with Circle K to roll these out into petrol forecourts around Ireland. And we really have a global solution that can be accessed remotely. For the customer, who's the main driver of this and is demand, it's massive that they have another place to go with their rubbish, and that's accessible 24/7. It's a totally unique solution, and the software is owned by Kollect, and we're the only company in Europe that has the NSAI approval to operate the weighing technology that's in our platform, as well as that have tied together a pay-as-you-go solution. So how do we make money? So Kollect has 2 types of revenue stream. We've recurring revenue and we've one-off revenue. Recurring revenue happens when people come back week in, month out. And then we've got the one-off revenue. So in Ireland or in Dublin, say, for example, we go in with the platform Kollect, and then people come onto us with different needs. Currently, from our platform, we get 60% of our revenue is one-off revenue and 40% is recurring revenue. So when I talk about the recurring revenue, I'll be talking about hotels. As you can see there, we have commercial bin collection at 19,000 SEK per year. So that could be a small hotel or a cafe. That's their average spend with us yearly. Or you have a domestic household. They'd spend on average 2,100 SEK with us yearly. 60% of our revenue is one-off revenue. So again, people in Dublin would have heard about our brands through Instagram or Facebook, Kollect, ye collect everything waste. They'd go on with a one-off waste collection needs, which could be, I need to get rid of a couch or a TV. We give them a price and we outsource it. We obviously prefer the recurring revenue, but as a platform in the waste industry, you're always going to be between both. The recurring revenue is front-loaded, as in we've got the upfront cost of getting the customer initially. So whether that's onboarding a domestic customer or a commercial customer, but then it compounds and you've low churn. I'm now going to speak about what we do for our waste partners. So why would a waste company want to work with Kollect? First thing is we acquire more customers and revenue for them. So in Manchester, there was hundreds of waste operators to aggregate to work with. So first we make sure that they're licensed and we vet them to make sure they bring the waste back to the right areas. But then once we onboard them onto our software, we know where their truck will be the next day. So we give them jobs in that area. So for a waste operator, it's a no-brainer because they have no customer acquisition costs, they have no customer service costs, and we give them the job exactly like they need us. Another reason that a waste contractor will work with Kollect is we provide them with tech. So it's in our interest to be sticky and to provide value to our waste collection partners. And we do that by providing them with tech and route mapping technology that makes them more efficient. We also, through digital advertising, we might promote their brands. Finally, and most importantly, another reason that they'll work with us is because they can concentrate on what they're good at. Waste companies are very good at processing and collecting waste. They're not necessarily good at getting customers onboarded and managing that customer journey. So we're finding a lot of our operators love working with us because we just give them the jobs that they need for the next day. So that's supply, and now I'm going to speak about demand. Why would a customer want to use the Kollect platform? First and foremost, we're trusted and licensed waste contractors. I'm not sure if any of you have experience of getting your waste collected in the UK or Ireland, but it's a very broken experience. If I need to get some junk collected, I'll probably go onto 10 different websites. Some of them will have no prices. I don't know if I can trust them. Whereas now with Kollect, we are simple and we're a one-stop shop. People just know if I go onto their platform, I don't need to do any of the looking around to see if I can trust the suppliers. They've already done this with me. So for household owners, that's very important, especially the on-demand. As I said earlier, most waste contractors finish Friday at 5 o'clock, where we find a lot of our business happens in the evenings. Like, people don't work 9 to 5 now, and they don't expect waste operators to be that way. But unfortunately, or luckily, maybe luckily for us, that is the way it is. And that's the huge opportunity for us. We have an average 1-minute response rate to all sales inquiries, and it allows us to acquire customers cheaply and be more effective as a waste booking platform. And for customers, it's a real wow that they can get a price so quick. If I'm a business, why would I go with the Kollect booking platform? So last year, we signed up a chain of cafes, and the reason that they went with us was because we can provide good reporting and centralized billing. So if I'm a coffee shop over in Sweden, maybe I might have 5 or 6 different contractors I'm dealing with. Or if I'm a coffee shop in Manchester, I might 5 or 6 different waste contractors I'm dealing with. But with us, what you do is you go onto our platform, we'll give you a price, and then we look after the collections. So we can provide good reporting and centralized billing for our customer, our commercial customer. That's a huge advantage for a customer of using Kollect. I'm now going to speak about the Kollect founders. So obviously I introduced myself earlier. I'm the CEO and co-founder, and I have 15 years experience in startups with online and retail emphasis, including 10 years in the waste industry. So, you know, the waste industry is really difficult to navigate if you're not in it. You know, I know I was in the traditional waste industry before we set up this online booking platform. So I'd know most of the CEOs and most of the operators in Ireland and some in the UK, and I understand what they're good at, what their pain points are, and how we can add value to them. So my main I suppose role in the company would be business development and also being able to navigate the waste industry. One of the key things when we scale our company and using third-party providers is that we get people and get companies whose values match ours. So we've Robbie Scouse. Robbie's been a founder of a previous startup with me and John Hegarty. So we've all worked together for 6 years. And in fact, a lot of the people working in Kollect currently have been with us in our other startup. Robbie's very much involved in the startup scene in Ireland. He's been twice listed in Ireland's 30 under 30, and he was a runner-up in Ireland's Best Young Entrepreneur competition, national competition. And Robbie will be very instrumental in our technology platform and our digital strategy. And then we have John Hegarty. John is our COO. Again, he's been founder of 2 previous startups, and he's 6 years operational experience and a degree in sustainability, which has been a huge bonus to us as we scale this business, because that's where people want to be now. And that's that was a big reason why we did an IPO in Sweden, because of how advanced we are in that area. But John looks after the operations, and also he spearheads the sustainability segment of our business. You know, we're an award-winning company. I think we've won 6 or 7 awards over the few years we've been in operation, including Ireland's Best Startup and becoming runner-up in Google at Adopt a Business, as well as Sustainable Nation Ireland. So as a company listed on the NASDAQ, we realize how important it is to have good, experienced people around us that, as well as have experience from a financial perspective, have experience of scaling a company quickly and successfully. So our chairman, Johnny Fortune, he's been involved in previous IPOs, including Ireland's first listed company in 1995, which was Skillsoft. And Johnny was part of this company when it went from 20 employees to 2,000, and it was sold in 2010 for $1.1 billion. We've also got Stefan Willstrands, who's the CFO of G5 Entertainment, another NASDAQ listed company. So he's been a great, helped us on this journey. And we've also got Melissa Okulukan, who's got previous IPO experience, and he's a qualified solicitor. So we feel, and he's also worked with NASDAQ in Sweden. So we feel between us all, the team we've got us around is we've got the right people to help us continue scaling quickly and successfully. Now I'm going to speak about the size of the Irish market and the UK market. So the Irish market, as you can see here, it's broken down into 4 segments. There's domestic household collection, there's commercial bin collection, which is hotels and restaurants, container and junk hire. That's you know, the container and skips from households and DIY, and junk is, you know, people need to recycle old tables and chairs. And then we've got industrial. So Ireland, the waste industry is worth over 10 billion SEK. And in UK, the opportunity is worth 93 billion SEK. Now, again, it's important to highlight that most of this industry that I've talked about here is actually privatized. It's people going online or going onto phones and ringing people. So if I have a waste need for any of these 4 verticals, I'm probably ringing a company to try and get a price. So there's huge opportunity, and we're the first company that have gone online and that offer a one-stop shop for all these services, that people don't have to think about, you know, separate providers. Because traditionally, the way the waste industry works is you'll have one person does domestic, another company does commercial, a separate company does container. So what we've done, we've aggregated all those onto our platform, and it's sort of in people's mind that makes them easier to think of just the one company that will do all these services. Ireland, the opportunity, we're obviously here nearly 4 years now, and the opportunity is immense in Ireland, and we've already validated a lot of the opportunity there. Really, I suppose the major advantage for us is people nowadays, as everyone knows, goes into Google when they have a waste, when they need something, they'll put in, I need a container, collect this. And what we've done is we've grabbed that real estate in Ireland. So organically, when someone puts in some of the keywords like commercial bin collection or container hire, we'll rank above everyone else. So that strategy we've been working on for the last 4 years, and we expect by this time next year that organically we'll rank in Google for all those search terms. So it's it's been tough to build up that SEO juice, but it allows us to grab that market share that are naturally going to go online over the next few years. The UK, we went into early last year into Manchester. We focused on Manchester because there was such a big catchment area of 8 million people around the cities and towns and metropolitan areas around Manchester. The real opportunity in the UK is the Irish market is small. There's probably 60 waste operators, licensed waste operators to aggregate. Whereas in the UK, there's thousands of waste operators to aggregate. So it's much easier and much quicker to scale in the UK than it is in Ireland. There's also so many opportunities, and we're really excited about the traction we've got there to date. And one of the main reasons we did the IPO was to get that grow capital to go after that market in the UK. Next, I'm going to speak about a growth plan. So how are we going to grab that market share? How are we going to go after that online opportunity that's in front of us? So we're not going to buy a country by country approach. We focus on a city by city approach. And what I mean by that is we look at a city first off and we say, is there ready-made fulfillment infrastructure? So is there enough providers, enough waste operators in commercial, domestic, container, junk to collect for our customers? Then we look at a population size of 100,000. And most importantly is we need to make sure that they have 3 out of the 4 verticals that I spoke about back here, so that there's domestic household collection, commercial bin collection, and container hire. or there's any mix of those. So we don't look, we're not trying to scale into cities where only like one of those verticals is privatized. We need to know that the opportunity is there for 3 out of those 4 verticals. I can explain what we did when we launched in Manchester is we went into Manchester, we had someone that understood the infrastructure there and was familiar with all the operators. We put that person in place, then we surrounded them with our digital team. Then we did a promotional campaign in Manchester saying on Instagram, Facebook, Google AdWords, and we let people know, here we are, here's Kollect, we collect everything waste. And then when people came onto our platform, we outsourced to the ready-made fulfillment infrastructure we had built in Manchester. As a waste booking platform, we realize the responsibility of us to enable the most sustainable world. You know, we have a massive opportunity to innovate in this space. Like we're in waste industry, and we also, it's like what our customers want. A lot of people in Ireland, we're probably a few years behind Sweden, and same with the UK. Believe it or not, zero landfill is not what happens in cities in Ireland, UK. A lot of waste goes to landfill. But what we do is we work with operators who avoid landfill and landfill diversion. So our customers want to know where their products go. Our customers want to know that when we get a waste operator to collect their waste, not only are they regulated and they have a permit, they also want to know that their waste is got rid of correctly, and most importantly, that it's either reused or recycled. So with some of the innovations that we're working on and that we hope to have by the end of this year is full traceability. So if you book a waste service to us, if you book in, say, your table to get it removed, we'll be able to provide you with full traceability on where that goes. So at the point where you're deciding whether to go ahead, we will tell you, if you book here, your table is going to end up in Mike or Mary's yard, and it's going to be recycled, or it's going to be used to make wooden floors, or it's going to be upcycled. You know, we think that's a real opportunity for us. Our sustainable mission really is to lower emissions, increase recycling, and get rid of landfill completely, which we've pretty much done over the last year. Is we only work with operators that divert from landfill. Another thing we do, which is we're the first in the waste industry to do it in Ireland and the UK, is we do carbon negative collections. So what I mean by that is if someone books a waste collection service on our platform, we offset the carbon emissions that our third-party waste provider does on that journey, collecting and getting rid or recycling the waste. So we offset those carbon emissions. We're involved in a project in Ireland that plants forestry in return for each of those collections. So I'm now going to speak about our historical financial performance. Sorry, now just move this. So as you can see there, we began in 2016 and we had 2.4 million revenue our first year, 2.4 million SEK. We've grown each year. Last year we did 36.1 million SEK. So we've always focused on high growth, and it's something, you know, the opportunity, I suppose, is so. We have a good product market fit. It's one of those startups that people want what we have, so we're able to grow very quickly. And the other thing we're very proud of is that we grew margin as well, gross margin. So you can see there that gross margin has increased each year from 29%, 26% to 27% to 37% last year. So we've been always focusing on high margin businesses. And the EBITDA there you can see at the bottom of the screen. So now I'll speak about the Q1 performance. So we can see Q1 2020 versus Q1 2019. Revenue from continuing operations was up 98%. So when I talk about revenue from continuing operations versus total revenue, what happened there was in 2019, we were in a business in one city in Ireland that was like high volume, high revenue, but was low margin. So we actually decided, we made a strategic decision to get out of that business vertical as such, because it took up so much management time and so much of the team's time. But you can see there with total revenue was 40% if you leave it in, and it was 98% like for like. So we had a loss there in 2020 of 2.75 million. SEK. And if you're to bridge that loss, a good part of that was investment in our web development. So we don't capitalize that in our balance sheet. We put that, any costs in web development is put in our P&L. And also we hired a number of people post IPO to allow us scale quickly in the UK and Ireland. You can see our gross margin pretty much held. It's 1% up from the full year 2019. It's at 38%. So that's probably a focus for us, and especially after COVID-19 and what's happened, all around the world at the moment.
Excuse me, John?
Yeah.
The time is running away here, so we actually want to use the last few minutes here to ask you some questions.
Okay,
that's fine. Yeah, because it's nice to hear what you have to say, but we also have some questions we have to get in before we end this.
No problem.
Yeah. So first of all, one thing that I'm wondering is, I never really got the grip of how you're about to, how and where you're going to grow this, the following years. Now, have you done like your DD and where you can use this platform, like in Europe or is it mainly focused on UK and Ireland?
Yeah, so there's 75 cities in the UK with a population of 40 million that meet our criteria of that has an addressable market that's suitable for us. So right now we're focused on those cities, but we're also like a very ambitious company, and we've been over to the USA, and there's cities over there we've identified as well that are suitable. But as I said, we're in Manchester at the moment, and that's where we'll be focused on for now.
Okay, so the near future for you is to still be in the UK.
This year we'll be focusing on there's 7 towns and cities around Manchester. We'll be focusing on some of those this year. So yeah, this year we'll be focusing on those, and then next year we'll obviously we're always looking at different cities throughout the world. But next year we'll be looking at scaling out in the UK and other cities.
Yeah, and you showed us some numbers here, like general numbers on the market size, but that's like for the whole market, I reckon.
Yeah.
Do you have any number to present regarding like what to cut or your share of this that you are able to aim for?
Yeah, Jamie, would you like to come in there?
Yeah, so I think I think a good place to start with is looking in City 1, which is the first city where we have been established. It's Waterford in Ireland. That's our home city, and we have 20% of the total market there, and that's for everything. So that's somewhere where we have an established brand name. We have a history of providing excellent customer service, and where people really understand and respond to us. So in Ireland, where everything is privatized, that's sort of the benchmark that we hold ourselves to across each of the different verticals. And then, of course, in Manchester and the UK as well, it really depends on a city-by-city approach and which of the verticals that each city has. So John spoke earlier in the presentation that every time we enter a new city, we make sure that that city has 3 out of those 4 verticals and that they're fully privatized. And so it really depends on which verticals and which criteria we're meeting in that city.
All right, thank you. And we have time for one last question here, and that is the biggest challenge for you these next following 12 months, would you say?
Well, like COVID threw up lots of challenges to lots of startups, but like in one way we were lucky. Our underlying economics are fundamentally sound, so we're able to focus now on profitability quite easily. And the major challenges are just, I suppose, navigating the I suppose COVID as well. Like we've a lot of commercial customers, hotels and restaurants that were closed down for a number of months that are reopening again. So we're just working with them, getting back on board with them. For our company, what we've seen was lots of people are navigating online. Like as I said there earlier, 0.5% of people currently book online, but I think COVID has thrown up huge. Like our business increased as a whole, as we said, we did a trading update there last week. In April, our business increased and March, whereas most businesses went down because of this opportunity, the online opportunity, and us just being the only waste company, having the online presence where they can book any waste activity. So the challenges for us will be like everyone else's, COVID, and hopefully we won't get a return of it.
All right. Thank you very much, Kollect and John.